Good afternoon. Stephen Elliott of Coherent Breathing here. It is April 20th, 2025. Picking up where I left off in the last video, one of the things that I wanted to achieve with the New Science of Breath, published in 2005, was to establish sort of a benchmark meaning of heart rate variability and relate it to its predecessor terminology-wise, this being respiratory sinus arrhythmia, which dated back to roughly 1900 in terms of its recognition. This is to say that if we breathe in a relatively slow, deep, rhythmic manner, that it will generate a heart rhythm that, when plotted, appears sinusoidal. Hence the name respiratory sinus arrhythmia. This is a sinusoidal rhythm in the heart that is generated by respiration. Is what this means. Now, in 2000, during sort of the lead up to the introduction of coherent breathing and the New Science of Breath, one thing that I wanted to establish was what is the meaning of this sinusoidal signal demonstrated by RSA and in the 2000 timeframe popularized as heart rate variability. And one of the things I did was associate the sine wave peak with current state sympathetic emphasis, and the valley with current state parasympathetic emphasis. So you can see that during a sine wave, the autonomic nervous system then oscillates back and forth, parasympathetic to sympathetic to parasympathetic to sympathetic, etc. And this oscillation is modulated to a large extent by breathing. So when we first went on the road trip or the tour, the Coherent Breathing Tour, in the 2005 to 2010 timeframe, we spoke a lot about this with clinicians and professionals in the field of psychophysiology, and this understanding was vague at best. So this is one of the things that I hope our work has clarified. You may know that there are other graphs in the New Science of Breath and in Coherent Breathing, the definitive method, that make clear that the more rapidly that we breathe, then the smaller and smaller our heart rate variability cycle or respiratory sinus arrhythmia cycle becomes. This is natural. The body has to work this way in order to work. That is, in order to generate energy for work to accomplish anything. So a meeting or two ago, I introduced this graphic. This shows the Valsalva wave in the lower panel in red and the heart rate or respiratory sinus arrhythmia pattern in blue. And you can see here there is a difference between, if I get out of the way, between the peak at 108 and the valley at 64 of 44 beats. The coherent breathing protocol is that we strive to realize a difference between the peak and the valley of between 20 and 30 beats of difference. Nominally 25, let's say, is the goal. And as we do that, we'll notice that our lives begin to change. One of the consequences of modern day life and society is that as we go about our day, if we fail to relax, where we have the opportunity to relax with every exhalation, if we fail to relax, then little by little throughout the day, the valley of our respiratory sinus arrhythmia curve or heart rate variability curve diminishes. It will rise up from 64 to 74 to 84 to 94 to 104, maybe leaving us with a difference of 4 beats of difference between peak and valley. And when this happens, we lose parasympathetic emphasis in the body and consequently in the mind. And with that, our muscles become tight, our nerves become frayed, our tempers flare. The physical sense of health and well-being gets tied in knots. It's very unpleasant. So we have the opportunity that when we learn to breathe slowly, deeply, and rhythmically, that we can exhale consciously and deliberately with every breath, allowing with each breath this valley of our respiratory sinus arrhythmia curve to drop so that throughout the day we can maintain a difference between peak and valley, let's say of 25 beats of difference. I recommend that we try to train this to be between 20 and 30 beats of difference all the time. If we train resonant breathing, we can go much larger than that. This chart is demonstrating 44 beats of difference. This is resonant breathing proper that's demonstrating these results. Does that make sense to everyone? I hope so. Thank you very much, and I'll join you again next week. Bye-bye.